Hello, good morning or good afternoon, and I'm sorry I'm not there to teach this lesson, but we're going to make it quick and hopefully not too difficult. The lesson today is finding the surface area of a composite figure. So first, a composite figure is just when you put two things together. So imagine building with those magnetiles again, where you kind of build like a house. Like you have the rectangles around, you have a square on the bottom or a rectangle on the bottom, and then those triangle pieces at the top. That's called a composite figure. So in this first example, we have a pyramid up here, and then we have a rectangular prism over here. But we have to be careful when we find the surface area, because we really just want the area of literally the surface. So sometimes we have to leave out pieces or bases that are inside of the figure, and we're just finding the area of the things that are on the surface. So I think it's really helpful to try to be really organized and also make a plan with these problems so that your teacher can follow along with what you're trying to do. So let's do this first example together. As you can see, this top part is a pyramid, but the base of the pyramid is actually like on the inside of this 3D figure. So I don't need to include the base as part of my surface area. What that means is it's really just these four triangles that are on the surface, and that's just called the lateral area of the pyramid. Okay, so I'm going to do the lateral area of the pyramid, and this is kind of how I write down what I'm going to do to keep it really organized so my teacher knows what I'm trying to do. So the lateral area of a pyramid is the first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is the lateral area of this prism. Okay, let's write down just so that we don't forget. The lateral area of a pyramid is 1/2 PL. So that's the formula I'm going to use for that piece, okay? Now for the second piece, I said lateral area of the prism, but let's just talk about why. So remember, a prism has two bases. If we're gonna call this bottom piece the base, then that means that these four rectangles on the side are the lateral area. So all of those side rectangles are part of my surface. So that's the lateral area of this prism. And remember, how do we like our prisms? To be pretty hot. So 2B plus pH, but we're not going to include the B's. So we're just going to do pH for the lateral area of that prism. But then be careful, because we do need to include one base. So the top of the prism is also inside the figure, but the bottom of the prism, this base, is on the surface. So we need to include one base, okay? So that's my plan, just right there. The lateral area of the pyramid, the lateral area of the prism, and the base. So let's go through, and I'm going to actually skip around. I'm going to start with the base. So if you look here, the base is this piece, and it's a square, and it's 4 centimeters on each side. So the area of the base is going to be 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay, and so the reason I wanted to talk about the base first is because these perimeters are going to be the perimeter of the bases, because all of these objects have the exact same base. So the perimeter of the base is going to be 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, okay, so, or 4 times 4, because it's a square base. That's 16. That's the perimeter. Now, they gave me, on this pyramid, they gave me the slant height is 5. That's the L. So for this lateral area, I'm just going to plug in 1/2 times 16 times 5. I can throw that in my calculator. I'm going to get 40. All right, and then for the prism, the perimeter of the base is still 16. The height of the prism base to base is this 7. So I'm going to plug into my formula, P times H, 16 times 7. $112. All right, and so the surface area is going to be just these three numbers added together. So we're going to add 40 plus 112 plus 16. 40 plus 112 plus 16 is 168 centimeters squared. That is the surface area of this composite figure. We're going to do one more. Okay, we're actually not going to do this one. It's a little bit of a harder problem and it's not on the test. So since I am not there to teach today, I am going to totally skip example 3. So let's just do example 2 and then you can get started on your homework, which is going to be the test review worksheet. Okay, so example 2, we have kind of a similar situation going on. We have this cone and then a cylinder. Okay, the bottom of the cone and the top of the cylinder are both inside of the figure. So we're going to start by finding just the lateral area of the cone. So the lateral area of a cone is pi RL. I'm going to write down the formula now. And then the lateral area of the cylinder is this like round, smooth part of the cylinder right here. So that's the second thing we're going to find is the lateral area of the cylinder. Now that is 2 pi RH. So we have to think back to our, we have to think back to our prism days with prisms and cylinders. So that's 2 pi RH. And then there is that bottom piece, which is a base. So we are going to do one base because that bottom base is part of the surface. So remember, the base is just the area of a circle, which is pi r squared. All right, so that's our plan, and now we're just going to execute that plan. The one thing that we're missing is that for the cone, we need the slant height, which is this L. And what they gave me was the actual height, but it is a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So the slant height here is going to be 5. So just be careful of that. The radius of this circle is given to us. It's 3. So easy peasy. We're just going to plug and chug for this one. Pi times the radius, 3, times that slant height, 5, is 15 pi. That's that cone part. Now let's do the cylinder. Okay, so for this one, we have the 2, the pi, the radius is still 3. The height of my cylinder is 6. So this is going to be 36 pi. Again, I'm just multiplying 2 times 3 times 6 and tacking that pi on with it. My daughter is behind me playing with toys. So if you can hear that background noise, I apologize. I'm plugging in the radius is 3 here. 3 squared is 9. So that bottom base is 9 pi. And now all we're going to do is just add these up. We got 15 pi plus 36 pi plus 9 pi. Okay, so we got 15 plus 36 plus 9, which is 60. And I'm going to tack on that pi. For my total surface area of this composite figure is 60 pi inches squared. Okay, so if you wanted to try the next one, you could, but again, it's a little bit harder. You kind of have to go piece by piece, and it's not on the test. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. The one that's going to be on the test is very similar to one of these two. Okay, so if you want to pause this video and copy anything down that I went too fast, or if you want to rewind and rewatch, you can. But their homework tonight is not a separate worksheet. It is actually just starting the test review worksheet. So the test review worksheet is long. That's why you're going to get 2 nights for it. But if you want to go down and do these composite figures right now, since that's what we just learned, you can. So these are going to be very similar to the ones we just did. A lateral base. For that middle one, this bottom one, we're going to do a base on here, a lateral area. And then for the first one, this one's a little bit different. The base of this cone is inside and the base of that cone is inside. So it's just going to be the lateral area of this cone and the lateral area of that cone. I can go over that one tomorrow when I see you. So I would do all of these composite figures today since that's what you just learned. And then maybe there's 14 other problems, so maybe just do the evens of the rest of this worksheet, and then you could do the odds the next day. Okay, so hopefully this all makes sense and you feel okay even though I wasn't there. I will recap everything tomorrow, and that is it. So thanks for your patience with me, and have a great night.